It is my opinion that what we see out of society nowadays is a direct response, and it's because of men. It's because men either enable things to happen or just let things happen. Um, for our government, society as a whole, well, we aren't doing nothing about it. We're not doing anything about these corrupt politicians who waste our money, who fight to send our tax paying money or children's labor in the future to other countries to uh, bring people in here from another country and have us have to pay for them with our hard earned wages. Um, or just people in general who are lazy and don't want to work, we have to pay for them. For women, why women are have huge egos or act out or expect certain things, well, it's because of men put up with it. Men enable it. Men let it happen. If women didn't get all this attention from men, especially online, they wouldn't have these inflated egos. It's amazing to me, being going on a dating site and seeing what's out there. Um, so many single moms on there, so many single moms. Um, and it's kind of sad. I mean, for these kids, right? These kids are being raised in single parent house. It's my kids are in that circumstance. Fortunately for them, um, I'm teaching them the realities of life and how life don't give a damn about you, especially if you're a man. Um, it's men that put up with this, and there's a part of me that likes the MGTOW movement, where just like, okay, we give up, but then it's like it kind of almost doesn't matter. It's almost like boycotting Walmart. Like, yeah, it might affect things slightly. It might affect them slightly, but they're still gonna make their money, or the females are still gonna get their attention because the vast majority of guys are so thirsty, and they're only thinking about one thing. And uh, um it's I'm a guy. I understand how it is. I understand, like, that's what we strive for. I mean, that's our nature. But to see, you know how, like, degradation, the decay of our society, where you got so many people that don't give a damn about their health, that just, I mean, they eat themselves into oblivion. There's no discipline. You know, to see, like, to see some of these females on these sites where they're extremely obese, right? They're a zero. They're a one. It's all, and it's just like a dude putting himself out there, little skinny whippy guy out there putting himself, saying, "I can't wait to Neuralink. I can't wait to get Neuralink, so I don't have to sit here because my brain does not connect with my mouth very well." Um, yeah, I probably will get Neuralink. I probably will. Um, just like a lot of people will. Um, the it's just with like, with women, like the number one things that attract a man is physical. And my whole thing is females aren't being. It's hard to hold a female accountable when she could just be like, whatever, and then there's somebody else that just comes along and just kisses her butt. It kind, and that's why I use that whole boycott Twitter or the NFL. Because I've been boycotting the NFL, and I guess their ratings are finally starting to slip a little bit, but does it really matter to them? I mean, when their contracts come up and they renegotiate their contracts with the TV ratings or whatever with the system, they're gonna get paid less. Then they'll feel it. Same with the NBA, but for right now, you know, it it really sucks. I liked the NFL. I liked it. I liked um, not having to think about politics and finance all the time because that stuff is boring. Um, it's cool, it's entertaining, but then it gets boring. And just kind of like shut my mind off and watch a game, and that was really cool. But um, I know that that's part of the programming with all the. It's like they want you to be asleep. They don't want you to be thinking for yourself. What my whole thing is, if you're putting yourself out there, you know, whether you're a guy or a girl, and you really don't have much to offer, what are you really expecting to get in return? I mean, if I if I have a beat up car, it's all got all these dents in there, maybe a window blowing out or a couple windows blowing out. It doesn't run that well. I mean, and it's like an older model. It's like a 1990s model or early 2000s model. What do I expect to get out of that? Do I expect to get $50,000 out of it? Do I expect to get 5 grand out of it? No, it's probably going to be junked. Okay, I'm probably going to get next to nothing. Okay, um, it's just people nowadays, and it's getting worse. It's so crazy how people just don't live in reality. People live in this bubble wrapped fantasy of a lie, and a lot of them don't have to face reality. You know, I don't think people are going to change unless we actually have some real pain and suffering. Women don't need men no more. Um, at least like they did before. So it's, if you want to have a traditional family where you're the leader and the woman will be submissive and support you and do all that and take care of the kids, it's kind of unrealistic nowadays. At least in the society, at least with these females out here. When they're what I don't mean to just rag on. Let me get this. Let me put this out here. You know, I don't mean to just rag on women, but because it's our fault. It's our fault as a gender, as a male. That we've let women get to this point. Look at the Muslims. Feminists are for the Muslims. Well, I like some of the things that they do, and they cover their women, and it looks like oppression. But you know what? Look at the other side of it. Look at America. Look at how wild women are. Look at the national anthem for females. What's her name? Not Nicki Minaj, but the other one, the stripper. the one that had, what was that WAP song? That's their national anthem, and then they're all singing it and holding it. Really, really? I mean, okay. I mean, females. I just look at them for a long term relationship. Hell no, hell no. It doesn't even matter if they're good looking. Just their mind is in the gutter, you know. And this could be said for a lot of dudes out here. Like I said, there's a lot of weak dudes out here that just prop these females up. They prop their egos up. People just live in some kind of a fantasy world now, and it's until people actually have to go through some pain and suffering until the party ends, which, I mean, it's coming. I'm telling you people voted in socialism. I mean, you want your kids to be slaves. This is what you want. You want America to become a third world country. We could have been prosperous. We could have been very prosperous. But you people want to give up your rights. You want to shred the Constitution. We will be suffering through pain and suffering coming pretty quick. Pretty quick. Especially how you guys voted. I mean, even if I don't trust the system, but I don't trust the system at all as a whole, but you know, Muslims, they want to come take it over. Okay, whatever. Go ahead. What do I care? What do I care at this point? What do I care? It doesn't matter to me. At least the females will have some respect for males. At least that. And the reason why women don't is because men are pushovers. Men allow this. Men allow this behavior. You know, if you're a Christian, you look at the Bible, there's a lot of things in there that say that women are wicked. There's a lot of things in there that say that. Men are bad leaders. You know, and you can see this in the home. Not all men. I'm saying generally speaking for the last 50 years to let women take over. To let the weaker sex take over. To hold them up like they're the prize. Women are the golden calf. You know, men are worshiping women like they are gods, like they're goddesses, like they're some kind of like a golden calf, and they're just flesh. They're just like us. They're no. They have all the same body functions as we do. If well, there's one more that they do that is pretty disgusting, but that's how you know we have kids, and that's how their plumbing works. But especially if they don't take care of themselves. Anyway, women are entitled and enabled, and you wonder why you're getting this bad behavior out of them. It's like, let's say you got a kid, right? You take your kid to the store, and I never had to deal with this problem. I never had to deal with this because I corrected the problem pretty quick. Take your kid to the store, and when you go to the store, your kid asks for something, a toy or whatever, a treat, you buy it for him every time. Then you say, nah, we can't get that. We can't get that toy. You have enough of that. That kid starts throwing a fit. So what do? Instead of letting that kid face reality, you keep on giving that kid whatever the kid wants to shut the kid up, teaching that kid nothing. And That's how a lot of females are. There's so many females out here that are materialistic, and a lot of them are coming out of the suburbs. Their families have done everything for them. Their families have done everything, even them not having to face consequences for their actions. Here's a quick story for these suburbs. Like, my my little princess can't do nothing wrong. Well, I was I was talking with this person. This person was in my life, and she ran over a mailbox, right? And mind you, she's a single mom. She relied on her dad heavily for finances to take care of her. If it wasn't for him, she would be selling herself out as a prostitute or living in some kind of ghetto trash. Section 8. Anyway, she ran over a mailbox. Did she have to pay for the mailbox that she destroyed? No. And then what did she do? What was her response? She laughed about it. She thought it was funny. And her dad had to deal with the consequences. And he did. He paid for it. See, that's what I'm saying is these females, especially being raised in the suburbs, they're not raised in reality. And then you wonder why. It's like you hear these people complain about the millennials or these Zoomers. Oh, they're idiots. They're stupid. Well, who raised these kids? Who raised this generation? Well, it's probably Generation X or the baby boomers. You can, yeah. There's a lot of stupid people out here. But when you spoil an entire generation, when you spoil, the hell. Anyway, when people are spoiled to this extent, where they think it's it's funny that the parents have to pay for their fail ups. I wonder whose fault it is. Who puts up with this? When the girl's daddy's little princess doesn't have to suffer any kind of consequences, who's gonna have to pay for it? Especially with our society printing out money, eventually reality will set in. Eventually, they're gonna have to stop printing money. Eventually, they're gonna have to end some of these social programs because they're not getting paid. They're not gonna get paid for. You can't keep relying on productive people to pay for unproductive people's things. Whether it's the American taxpayer, the hardworking middle class, or other countries having to, they back their dollar with our dollar. Eventually the party ends. It will. And it is frustrating in the time being that, I don't want suffering. I like to have electricity. I like to be able to listen to YouTubes and do my thing, and I like food and I like to have running water. I like to have some kind of peace. I don't have to feel like I'm living in the wild, wild west. But it's I don't know what else to say. I really don't. This when there's no accountability for people's actions, and they don't have to be responsible for their actions, and they don't have to be responsible for what they do bad. They're just gonna keep on doing it. That's it. It's just like If a serial killer was not stopped, do you think they're gonna stop killing? No, they're gonna keep going. You know, drug addict, they're gonna keep going. Alcoholic, they're gonna keep going. Whatever. If you don't have to face the consequences for your actions, expect people not to care. You know, and it's amazing, you know, to see Rome fail. It's amazing to see what um what people saw when Rome failed in 2021 with America. It's amazing to see what people went through when the Nazis took over and how they took over. It's amazing to see that in real life and wonder, how did that happen? How did Hitler take over? Or how did one of the greatest empires ever get brought to its knees? And we're seeing it in real time. And the funny thing is, here's the kicker. Here's the funny thing. Most people don't give a damn.